Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a new episode of Learning How to Paint. Last week we did some sci-fi vehicles, some scout vehicles for the purpose of planetary observation, so you can send a vehicle like that to the surface. And I thought let's do a follow-up, but with alien vehicles. So that's what this episode is about. This episode was a bit longer, so we're gonna do this a little bit different. I'm gonna introduce the video and then I'm gonna fast forward a bit, and I will talk a little bit about it later as well. So we start with a couple of rough sketches on a A3 size canvas with about 25 to 30% gray background, maybe a little bit more, I don't remember. But I like to work on a grey background, as I said before. It's I don't know, it works a little bit better for me than a white background. I also searched for a lot of insects. I thought I drew my inspiration from insects, and I think that's done a lot in sci-fi. Insects serve as a good inspiration source. I think it's because a lot of people are sort of naturally afraid of bugs and things like that. So I think that's aliens are usually sort of made scary purposely. So so that's a good subject matter to make people actually a little bit scared of the aliens. So the first one is a little bit of a free form design. And this one is more inspired by a wasp. And in the end, yeah, I'm not sure if these are sort of vehicles or if this is a sort of morph between biology and technology. I don't know. I think the latter is probably sort of the best solution. So I came up with a bunch of designs during the rough sketching phase, and I took a couple of these designs and I colored them. So yeah, there's not really that much to talk about. I use a sort of standard chalk brush shrunk down to 9 pixels wide for these rough sketches, and as you can see, I sort of paused a couple of times, but as you can see, though, the longer I work, the rougher I get with my sketches. So that's maybe something I can work on, but it also means that my confidence level is getting up, and I know that I can probably in the end make a good looking sort of concept out of a really rough sketch. These are all concepts, by the way, and no painting whatsoever. I think I might do 1 or 2 more episodes like this, and then we're gonna take a couple of these designs that we did in these episodes, and we're gonna try to make a couple of nice paintings out of them. So that's sort of the end goal. So we have a sort of a total work process here, and I thought that would be kind of cool. But I'm gonna fast forward the video until we start coloring these sketches, and then I will be back with some more commentary. So here we are. I decided to grab some pictures from bugs and use those as a sort of a base to start my coloring from. And once I was done with the process, I noticed that I could have been a lot quicker with this phase. As you can see, I'm erasing the parts that I don't need, but I could have just selected the sort of a gray filler that I already made and use that selection to delete the rest of the texture. So I could have saved myself quite a bit of time there. I think in total I probably could have saved myself 50 minutes at least for the entire piece. So that's something that I should keep in mind, and that you should keep remind yourself of. There are certain techniques that can save a lot of time. As you can see, we are picking the colors from the picture that we use, and we're going to use that to sort of base our color scheme of. The original non-refined sketch is still sort of shining through, and in certain places I didn't really mind because it gives an extra sort of level of detail or texture to the painting or to the concept. But there's also quite a lot of rough lines around the edges, and I end up erasing all of those in all of the sketches. Some of it I recorded, not all of it, because it's just a really simple process. It's just selecting the right layer, grab your eraser brush, and just erase it. I could have thrown out the entire layer, but then I would have lost a little bit of detail in certain places. So I decided to just clean up the edges so that we have a nice clean edge in the end. So this was from an orange and green looking bug. It looks really nice and shiny, so it gave us a nice and shiny shell, so to speak, for this vehicle. And as you can see, we keep it fairly rough and simple. And here I just decided to not grab a section of a drawing, of a photograph I should say, but just the entire photograph and just delete sections of it. Yeah, that's definitely, I could have definitely saved a lot of time by just selecting the gray layer here, and then select the inverse and select this layer and then delete, or maybe even a layer mask. That would be nice, but because then you can sort of get your layer positioned very nicely without worrying about the edges. So I kept the eye of the spider, and I thought it would be really nice to use that as a sort of the viewports. At first I did the bottom one the very light blue colors from the sort of the mouth of the spider, but then I thought, you know what, I kind of like those eyes, and I kept one extra eye in where I initially didn't sketch a viewport. So we created an extra viewport by the use of the picture. And I don't know, it's a really nice color spider has. I really like it for an alien sort of vehicle. The shiny eyes and maybe some of the hairy bits. And yeah, this in the end, I think this maybe is my favorite design of all of them, just because the color scheme. I really dig the color scheme, and yeah, I really like this one. So yeah, from now on it's just grabbing some photos and grabbing a nice color scheme and just sort of filling in the rough sketches. So I'm gonna fast forward the rest of the video, and I will be right back with you at the end of the video. So here we are at the end of the video. We do a little bit of touch up on this design. I sort of left it halfway, but here you can see the total design, and I decided to add a little bit of darkness behind, and I sort of tuned up the pictures a little bit more with some shadow, and you will see the results quite shortly now. Gonna throw in the end result. I hope you enjoyed this this process. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. And if you have any ideas on what I can do more, I want to do more of these. So if you have any suggestions, please just leave them in the comments. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like the content. And I hope to see you next week with another one of these sketches, and hopefully the week after that, or the week after that, in 2 weeks, we can start painting. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.